I want you guys to get nice and cozy because today we're going to be talking all about my fall essentials. All the things that add to the coziness of the season, that help with the colder weather. And a lot of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys are actually products that I've had in my life and have had in my fall rotation for years. I put together a mix of home and lifestyle things as well as some clothing essentials. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see me do a beauty fall essentials video. I was gonna include that today, but I felt like the video would get just a little bit too long and a little bit too big, but I could do that separately if you guys want to see it. So let me know in the comments. So we're gonna start off first with the home and lifestyle things. And if there's one thing that you need in the fall time, especially if you live in a colder climate, it is a cozy blanket. Now there's a blanket that I recently have brought into my life that I am just obsessed with. And believe it or not, I was actually influenced by none other than Trudy, my mother. I went over to my parents' house one day and they had this new blanket on their couch, and I went over to go touch it and immediately I gasped because it was the softest, coziest blanket I had ever laid my hands on. I just could not believe it. And my mom had raved to me about it a couple days prior, and I honestly didn't believe that it was as good as she was saying. Sorry, Mom, for not fully believing in the hype, but wow, she was so right, because when I touched this blanket, I mean, I just could not believe how soft it was, and I immediately went home and purchased it myself. I feel like I'm leaving you on a little cliffhanger right now. The blanket is from Lola Blankets. I've actually seen them all around social media. I never really looked that much into them until my mom started raving about them. Blanket comes in a bunch of different colors and sizes. There's even a weighted version. I ended up getting the regular version, and the color that I got is Cocoa Butter, which is part of their collab that they did with Tezza, I believe. It's a bit of a mix of colors. There's a little bit of beige, a little bit of warm brown, and a little bit of cream. Also, something to keep in mind if you are interested in purchasing one of these, make sure to check to see if there's a discount code available, because when I picked up mine, I used a 40% off discount code. So definitely make sure to check before you purchase. Next, let's talk cozy drinks, because as soon as fall hits, I want a warm beverage on hand at all times. And there are a couple teas in particular that I really love and always reach for during this time of year. I think my number one fall tea, and the tea that I've probably been drinking for literally 15 years at this point, is the Celestial Bengal Spice Tea. I pretty much always have to have this in my pantry. It is my all-time favorite tea. I'm sure at some point on my channel over the last 12 years I have mentioned this. It has all of those warm, spicy fall notes. There's cinnamon, chicory, carob, ginger, cardamom, black pepper, cloves, and nutmeg. So you can imagine it's just really warm, spicy, and also a little bit sweet. I discovered this tea for the first time when I first started doing yoga, probably 15, 16, 17 years ago. They would serve this tea at the yoga studio. I don't know if it's because of the warm, spicy notes or because I discovered this at a yoga studio, but whenever I drink this, I just feel so cozy. Even beyond that, it's just delicious. And it's the quintessential fall tea. Coffee and matcha are obviously two really big warm drink staples in my life. Right now though, I am taking a little bit of a coffee break because every time I would drink it, it would make me really anxious. I spoke about this in my last vlog, but I decided to just give up coffee. So I've been really into matcha lately. And my absolute favorite matcha for years now is Pique. Pique. The ones that I get come in these little sachets and they're so convenient. This is just one of my absolute favorite matchas. It's not bitter, it's super smooth, it's super creamy, it has a really rich flavor. Overall, it's just a really great quality matcha, and I just really love matcha so much. I love the way it makes me feel. It gives me a little bit of that energy boost, but it's way smoother, it's not as intense. I don't get that anxious feeling. If anything, it actually makes me feel more calm and more relaxed. I also wanted to mention another addition that I actually like to put in a lot of my teas, and especially in my matcha and even in my coffee when I am drinking coffee. It's the Elmhurst Oat French Vanilla. A lot of flavored coffee creamers are super sugary, very sweet, and most of them honestly kind of hurt my stomach a little bit. But I love so much about the Elmhurst creamers is it's fairly simple ingredients. There's no gums added to it as well, which I really like, and it's not overly sweet at all. So I could put a little bit of this in my matcha, and it's gonna give that little hint of French vanilla, but it's not gonna make it sickly sweet. Even added to tea, it just kind of gives a little vanilla-y essence, which is really nice. So if you're into stuff like this is my absolute favorite. Oh, hi, Gus. Wait, Gus break. He came to say hi. Now I want to get into some of my favorite candles because of course I cannot talk about like cozy fall essentials without talking about candles. I feel like those two things go hand in hand. If there's one candle that just encapsulates the feeling of fall so perfectly, it is by Byredo Saffron. I bought this probably about 6 years ago for the first time, and I bought it in like September, October. And I think because I bought it during that time and I started to burn it during that time, now whenever I burn this candle, it just reminds me of the beginning of fall. So the top notes are black pepper and saffron, which I totally get right away. The heart is labdanum, leather accord, and violet, and the base is dark amber, patchouli, and vanilla. Oh my god, no wonder I like this so much. These are like all of my favorite notes in one candle. The feeling that it gives, it's like lightly smoky, a little bit leathery. It has like a very dark, sexy, cozy, like I want to just light this and read a book and sit by a fire type of vibe. I have gone through probably 3 or 4 of these. I'm almost done this one, and it's just not a spring or a summer candle. Like the vibe just does not match up. So I'm so excited to be into the fall season and finally get a chance to burn my absolute favorite candle. Oh, every time I smell it, it just makes me go, ah. Another one of my absolute favorite candles is a Salt and Stone Saffron and Cedar. This smells exactly like Baccarat Rouge 540, and that is one of my favorite perfumes. And I just love that I have found a candle that smells exactly like it. It is a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, again a little bit on like the sexier side. I don't know why I keep describing everything as sexy, but that's really like the first thing that comes to my mind. I don't know why. I love Baccarat Rouge 540. Like it's one of my favorite perfumes. So it's so nice to be able to get that fragrance in something else other than a really expensive perfume, and to be able to get it in a candle for my home to smell like my favorite perfume. And the throw on this, and I should mention the throw on the saffron candle, are quite strong. Like these are both very strong candles. It will completely fill up the room with the fragrance, which you'll either really like or you might not like. It depends on your preferences. Of course, I couldn't not mention catnap, because catnap really is just the most beautiful, cozy fragrance. If you didn't know, I actually developed this candle with Mallow the brand, and it was inspired by Gus, my cat, and the way that he smells, which might sound a little bit crazy if you don't have a cat, but cats really do smell delicious. And Gus smells like a mix of my everyday perfume, which is rose and vanilla, as well as laundry. So the notes in here are rose, vanilla, and lemon. So it's a little bit sweet, a little bit floral, and fresh as well. It's a very cozy, warm scent without being like too over the top or too spicy. It's very soft, and very unlike the other 2 candles that I just shared with you guys. This is a candle that will not overpower your room. It will leave a very soft fragrance. It's not over the top at all, and I love this especially when I'm working. While I love candles, I also sometimes get a little bit, I don't know, like nauseated by them if they're too strong or too intense, but I love a good smelling room. So it's nice to have a candle that is a little bit on the softer side, but still gives you that nice, like warm, cozy feeling. And that's exactly what catnap does. So that is my last favorite candle. Staying within the realm of fragrance, but kind of dabbling into the world of beauty, I also wanted to talk about perfume, because your perfume often changes up with the season. And I definitely have like my summer perfumes and my fall perfumes. And when I was looking through my collection prepping for this video, the perfume that stood out to me immediately, and the one that I was like, okay, yes, that is like the quintessential fall perfume, and it's the one that I only wear in the fall time, and it's one of my absolute favorites. It is Byredo Bibliothèque. So bibliothèque is library in French, and I don't know how they did it, but they just really captured the way a library smells, but in a really pleasant, nice, beautiful way. The top notes for this are peach and plum, the heart notes are peony and vanilla, and the base notes is leather, patchouli, and vanilla. The leathery note is quite strong in here, but it's balanced really nicely with the fruitier plum notes. So it's leathery and sexy, I'm saying it again, without being like over the top or too much. And it's just a really complex, unique fragrance. I really have nothing else like it in my collection. You will smell this and either love it or hate it. I feel like I've barely even made a dent in this, and that's because I will spray one spray and it will last the entire day and days after on my clothes and even on my skin. Like, it is a very, very, very long wearing, strong fragrance. We are really switching gears now and diving into the world of knitting. So I'm a big crocheter. I absolutely love crocheting, and I pretty much like did not crochet at all throughout like the spring and summertime, because to me, like, crocheting is definitely a fall winter hobby. When I crochet, I love to just like cuddle up on the couch with my blanket and a little like cup of tea, and I want to have like a movie going on in the background, and then I just want to be crocheting. And for some reason, I just can't do that in the spring and summertime. But I decided that I wanted to learn a new hobby, very much in the same realm of crocheting, knitting. I actually tried to start learning how to knit a couple months ago, and I kind of gave up because I got very overwhelmed. And then I went to do a knitting course to finally learn like the proper techniques and how to actually do it. And after doing that knitting course, then I started to knit all the time, and I am currently in the middle of knitting my very first project. This is a little beanie that I'm knitting. It's definitely not perfect. It's my very first thing I've ever done, and it's taking me forever. All that to say, I feel like knitting is kind of a fall essential, and I wanted to talk about it because I really wanted to encourage anybody who's thinking of learning how to knit to start learning how to knit this season. And how, oh my God, how cool would it be if we had a little, like a virtual knitting club? I don't know if I can make that happen or how I would make that happen, but just imagine it. First of all, it is so relaxing, and if you are like me and have any level of anxiety, it really does calm the mind, because you have no choice when you're knitting or crocheting to think about nothing else other than the knitting or crocheting project that you're working on, because you need to pay attention. You need to count the stitches. You need to, know where you're at in the pattern. You can't really let your mind wander too much, which is really great when you want to quiet down your mind. And there's truly nothing better than creating your own things, like knitting yourself a hat or a sweater or some socks. It definitely takes practice, and it's a little bit intimidating, but as soon as you get started and get the hang of it, you're good to go. I also wanted to talk about this book that I picked up. It's called 52 Weeks of Socks. I bought this even before I started to knit, and it was kind of the thing that motivated me to want to learn how to knit, because this book has the most gorgeous sock patterns ever. And I was like, wow, if I could make even just one pair of these, I would be so excited and so happy. Look at how cute these socks are. I'm actually going to be trying to knit these socks, the amber socks. I got all of my yarn and everything. I've just been too scared to start because it's a little bit above my skill level, but the only way to, learn is to try. So I'm gonna try to knit my very first pair of socks. Something else that I think of when I think of fall is soup. I consider myself to be a soup girl. I'm so much of a soup girl that I actually made a sticker for my stationery shop that looks like this. It's a soup girl sticker. As soon as the weather starts to turn, I start making soup. One of my favorite things to do on like fall weekends is to basically make like multiple different soups on Sundays. So I have like a bunch of different soups for the week. So with that said, I wanted to recommend a cookbook that I use quite often that has some of my favorite soup recipes in it. This isn't a soup focused cookbook, but there's just some really nice soup recipes in here, and it's the Love and Lemons Everyday Cookbook. There's about 10 soup recipes in here, and I've tried almost all of them, and they are all so delicious. One of my favorites is actually the most simple one, and it's the sheet pan squash soup. It's a butternut squash soup, and it actually includes miso. And I never tried adding miso in a butternut squash soup before, and oh my God, it was absolutely delicious. And I just love that every recipe in here is really simple and really easy, but it always just tastes so delicious. So just a quick little recommendation if you also love soup. All right, let's get into some of the fashion and clothing favorites. We're gonna start small with some hats, because all year round, I love adding baseball hats to my outfits, but especially in the fall time. And this past weekend, I was actually at a small business market, and I discovered this small business called C'est Paulette, and they make these really cute hats. This one is corduroy, and it says pas de stress, which is really cute, which means no stress in English. And then this one says café s'il vous plaît, which means coffee please in English. Very adorable hats, and I think that they're always a great addition to a fall wardrobe. Jackets are very important, especially if you do live in a colder climate. I live in Montreal, and Montreal gets very, very cold very quickly. And so I definitely feel like a jacket connoisseur because I kind of have every jacket for every type of occasion. There are 3 categories of fall jackets that I feel are essentials in my wardrobe. The first one is the vest. A puffy vest is perfect for when it's cold enough that you need a jacket, but not so cold that you need like a full-on jacket, and you just want a little something just to kind of keep you warm, but not too warm. This is one that I have and I absolutely love it. It's a super puff vest from Aritzia, and I love the length of this. It hits at the perfect length, and it's also super, super warm. And I really love this like creamy off-white color. It goes with pretty much everything in my closet. A wool trench coat is another must for me. This one is also actually from Aritzia. This coat was such a great investment because I've had this for probably 7 or 8 years, and it has lasted me so well through the years. It still looks practically brand new, and I wear this thing to death, both in the fall and in the winter time. Especially in this brown color, I just feel like this is a jacket that will truly never go out of style, and it's something that I think you can really work so many different outfits around. The last essential jacket for me is a leather jacket. I have several leather jackets in my closet that I absolutely love. This one is one of my favorites. I actually thrifted this. It's a men's like super large and oversized motorcycle jacket. I really do love thrifted leather jackets because they're already broken in and they just have that really nice like worn feeling to them. This one is really great because it's also pretty like heavy duty, so it does keep me pretty warm, and I just love how oversized it is. So I have more of like an oversized one, and then I also have more of like a fitted leather jacket that's a little bit more cropped and also like a little bit cleaner looking. It's not as like worn in looking, from Rudsack, that I also really, really, really love, and that just goes with literally everything. So those are my 3 essential types of fall jackets. And another big, big, big fall essential for me are boots, especially black boots. These are one of my absolute favorite pairs of boots I have ever owned. They are from Vagabond. They kind of go like mid-calf, and they almost look like a bit of a cowboy boot because of like the rounded top over here, and like it splits at the front, and it has a square toe. So it's a little bit more of like a fun take on a classic black boot. This pair is definitely much shorter. It's more of like an ankle boot than a mid-calf boot. They're from House of Harlow, and I actually just checked online to see if they were still available. And not only are they still available, but they are majorly on sale. I think they're like 40 or 50% off. There's only a couple sizes left though, but I just wanted to put that out there in case you were interested. They are very discounted right now, and I absolutely love these. I love wearing them with jeans, especially because the little buckle peeks out, and I love the pointy toe with jeans. It's just so pretty, and it also just looks so classy. Obviously, sweaters are a huge essential in the fall. This fall season, I am really looking to have some fun with my sweaters. I love bright colors in knitwear. I really love knitwear that's simple, but that's really bright, because I find that it just immediately spices up an outfit. You can be wearing jeans and a sweater, but if your sweater is a really fun pop of color, it immediately just makes the outfit just more fun. And especially as things, you know, start to get a little bit cold and dreary, it's just nice to bring some color into the wardrobe. I also recently picked up this chartreuse sweater from Zara, which really does give you quite the bright pop of color. And even this sweater, which is probably one of my most worn pieces in my wardrobe, I love this thing so much. It's actually a cardigan, but it's this bright green color. It's from the brand Stussy. I actually picked it up in the men's section randomly at a store. It was on sale, and it's my favorite purchase I've ever made. A goal of mine over the next couple of weeks is to procure a couple other key bright sweaters to include into my fall wardrobe. I might actually do a little fall time shop with me, so stay tuned for that. You're either somebody who loves turtlenecks or you hate them. I love turtlenecks so much. I've been a turtleneck lover for many years, and basic turtlenecks are such a great staple to have in a fall wardrobe. I normally get my turtlenecks from Aritzia. This one I've had actually for 6 years, and it's still going strong. I need to get a couple more turtlenecks for the fall season, and I'm definitely interested in trying out some different brands. So if you have any turtleneck suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Tights are definitely a must in the fall time, and I've tried many different tight brands over the years, and the ones that I always go back to are Sheertex. What makes Sheertex a little bit different is that they're very durable. Like, I can pull on my tights and they're not going to rip. I've had Sheertex tights that have ripped, but it did take a lot for them to get there. So they're not indestructible, but they're definitely way more durable compared to most tights. Sheertex are definitely pricier than regular tights, but they will last you a lot longer, and so you'll have to buy them a lot less. And what I will say is wait for Black Friday, which is coming up pretty soon, because they always have some pretty good deals. That's it, guys. Those are a lot of my fall essentials. I feel like I probably even have more. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if I'm able to think of some more, but I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing about all of my fall essentials. Again, let me know some of yours in the comments and your thoughts on everything that I spoke about today. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.